Hi, this is Vicki from Learning Home Volunteers, and welcome to our new learning session on bears. So many different things we could learn about bears, but we thought we would focus on two main areas. We're going to get an overview of the types of bears that we have in our world and really focus on the habitat of polar bears, a land of ice and snow. We'll add a little whimsy to our Bear Week by hosting a teddy bear picnic, and we'll invite our friends, make some treats, and play a few games. Before we get started, let's go through how to find the materials for our session. I want to review the activity numbering system and how you can use it to find the materials and know which materials are used for the activities described in the videos. In each of the box on the back of the lid is a list of all the activities for the learning session. Each of the activities for the learning session are numbered, and these numbers are important and can help you find the associated materials and relate them to the videos. Let's use an example. In this session, activity number 3 on the box contents sheet is pom pom soccer. And in the box, you will find a bag that is numbered 3, which is all the materials for the pom pom soccer. In the activities, both the introduction and the learning activities for the week, there is a number to reference the activity number 3. In addition to the numbers, there is a table which will tell you what materials you need to return. In this session, none of the materials need to be returned, although normally we would ask for the paint back so we could refill the jars. In our next session, we will be using paint, so please hold on to the paint containers. And just a reminder, anything with an activity label like this one needs to be returned. We are sharing those items with all of the families. We have 3 books for this session. The book that inspired this session is entitled A Polar Bear in the Snow. We received a gift of these books from the San Mateo County Library, and in your box you will find a copy. This book is written and illustrated by the same author that wrote Triangle. This book was illustrated by creating torn paper pictures and drawing on them with pencil. Amazing, really. I think as we try and describe what it looks like where the polar bears live, the first word that comes to mind is white. White snow, ice, and cold, cold sea. The book does a great job of showing a world of white. In our session, we're going to try to recreate a world of ice for your child and you to explore. Please watch the videos and turn the pages as you read the book with the reader. Our second book is Goldilocks and the Three Bears. It's a bilingual book about bears, and their encounter with a Goldilocks, a little girl wandering in the woods. Our last book is Corduroy. This book touches my heart every time I read it. It describes a little girl and how she found her teddy bear. Our first activity is to get to know the bears that live in our world. We have provided cards for all the different kinds of bears. Spend a little time on the internet to learn about bears with your child. My favorite bear is the Asiatic black bear, also called a moon bear because of the moon shape, white patch on his chest. It has a small tail, 4 inches, and when on all fours is 28 inches at the shoulder, which is a bit smaller than most of our kits. But they weigh 130 to 440 pounds. These guys are great tree climbers. They live in Pakistan, China, Japan, the Himalayas, Tibet, and Siberia, and they eat bugs, eggs, mushrooms, grass, fruit, nuts, seeds, honey, and some animals. Their jaws are super strong and they can break a branch in two by just biting on it. Check out the cute baby Asiatic black bear who's only 44 days old. Check out those feet and the big claws. I guess they need it for climbing and digging. This is activity number 2. In your box, you're going to find 2 bags, one with buttons and the other with game accessories. Let's start with our first set of games. In the accessory bag, you will find cardboard strips with either shapes, colors, or numbers on the strip. We can practice sorting on any of these. Let's take a look at shape sorting. Sorry, hard to say. Put the cardboard strip down on the table or the floor, and then review the names of the shapes by touching each of the shapes and calling it out. Ask the child to line up the button of the same shape under the shapes like we're seeing in this picture. So the green octagon is under the picture of the octagon. The same with the orange one. Using the color strip, you can sort your buttons by color. I see I have one sky blue button, one purple button, one orange button, two yellow buttons, and one green. I also have 0 buttons for blue, pink, red, brown, black, and white. 0 is a great concept to point out to your child. In this slide, we see the number strip. Put the corresponding number of buttons that correspond to the print number on the strip. In other words, the number of buttons needed to make that number. So under the print number 1, we would put 1 button. In the accessories bag, you will find paper button shapes. Spread those buttons on the floor and use the shape cards from last week to call out the shape or the color for the child to go to. And have those kids jumping around. There are lots of other fun things to do with buttons. You could stack them on each other and see who can make the tallest stack. You can mix the buttons with Play-Doh and create a button sculpture like we see on the left. You could put a piece of spaghetti into the Play-Doh and thread the buttons on the spaghetti. Each of these activities are marvelous fine motor skills and will help build hand muscles so that they're ready for writing. You can also use the pipe cleaners and thread the buttons onto the pipe cleaners, or as in the second example, you can make a bracelet by threading up and down through the holes, which leaves them laying flat on the pipe cleaner. What else will you do with your buttons? We want to see your ideas, so please post them on ClassTag. Wow, we've seen a bunch of bears, played with our buttons, read some books. I think I'm ready for a rest before we start next week. Hope you had a good time too.